Hi, welcome to LiveU TV. I am Joss Armitage from Jump. We are a communications agency in the media, entertainment and technology space. We've worked with LiveU for about 10 years now, I would say. Recently, over the last couple of years actually, I've had several conversations with Tom Hutchings from Shine TV, talking about their use of LiveU technology, which is a bit different. LiveU has a very powerful reputation in news and has truly disrupted that sector, and an increasingly powerful reputation in sport. But in general entertainment, it's a bit more nascent, or the use is a bit more nascent, and Shine has been very innovative in what they've done. In fact, LiveU, you could argue, has been crucial to what they've done in certain cases. We're going to look at a couple of those, but I'll let Tom introduce himself first, and then I will fire a few questions at him so you can get the details of what they've done.
I'm Tom Hutchings from Shine Television. I'm an executive producer at our London-based office. I'm responsible for a programme called Celebrity Hunted, which goes out on Channel 4. It's one of their top-rating shows. Amongst that, I also work on a show called The Heist for Sky One, and a few other documentaries that are always fairly tricksy to make as well. I guess at Shine TV, we pride ourselves on making big, bad, ballsy, ambitious programs that seem to get commissioned on their ambition, and then you have to work out how to make them. So we're going to talk a bit about that in a minute, and how this technology has been vital to some of those successes.
As you said, that leads us nicely on to The Heist, which I believe was first series was 2018, I believe is correct, shown on Sky platform in the UK. So talk us a little bit about The Heist briefly, and then why you needed LiveU for The Heist, because it's a particularly tricky problem you had to solve.
I guess we should go one step further back than that. And our sort of love affair with cellular bondage technology started, I say that and my girlfriend gives me a strange look in the room. It started on Hunted about 5 years ago, when we wanted a helicopter following a van through Manchester in the north of England, and we wanted our hunters in HQ, which is a purpose-built working set in the middle of London, to be able to watch what was going on. So traditionally, you would have a Cineflex mount on a helicopter. You'd have a downlink that sends via RF that feed to an uplink to a receiver on the ground, and then we would have to get it back. So whether that's via IP or via another sat link to the hunters, and we looked into it, and it was just going to be horrendously expensive. We're talking tens of thousands of pounds for, yes, it's going to give you a really good sequence on TV, but as budgets these days are getting tighter and tighter, we didn't know what to do. We needed that connection because we need the hunters to react to something. So it was through our friends at BT Broadcast we spoke to. They put us in touch with another company called Jackshoot, who specialise in 4G technology. And a few days later, we had an engineer in our helicopter with a LiveU kit with I think it was the LU 500 at that time, and plumbed it in. And lo and behold, we had lovely crystal clear HD pictures coming off a helicopter over Manchester with 1.6 second delay in over to our studio set in London. And then a couple of years later, we got a program called the Heist commission. So the Heist was commissioned for Sky One, which is the biggest non-terrestrial channel here in the UK, and it's quite rare for them to commission something that's unscripted as well, especially factual entertainment. And it's a big budget, ballsy, ambitious program, and it is, it's the game, the ultimate game of cops and robbers. So, like Hunted, we would have a team of investigators, but then we'd also have a team of thieves who have to pull off an audacious heist and hope to win a life-changing, steal and win a life-changing sum of money. So that's a great idea. It's a really good idea, on paper, and Sky were like, yes, let's do it. And then it's sort of like, as the green light was there and the cogs started to move, it's like, okay, so we can film detective work fairly overtly in a sort of traditional TV sense, but how do you film the life and the activities of a robber, of an unidentified thief, without compromising their identity? So the typical sort of Shine thing, we'd got something really big and amazing commission, but it was like, oh god, how are we going to make this? So this is where LiveU came into it, and we thought, well, if we could, what we could do is we can have like mini cameras, we can have cameras stuck in cars, and we can have PDs, producer directors, with them at home when they're sort of a safe environment. And we can, so with loads of different cameras, we can keep these, we can keep filming a thief going about their daily business without anyone noticing. And then we thought, oh well, let's give the thief a bit of phone so they can do a bit of, sorry, I got paint all over my phone. Let's give the thief a phone so they can do a bit of filming themselves. It's, everyone's got a phone, everyone films on the phone these days. That'll be great as well. The problem with that is that with all these types of program, you need to be able to keep an eye on their narrative. So it's all very well thinking you've got the coverage, but without actually knowing what's going on, you risk getting to the edit knowing that you've got loads of coverage, but you have no idea what the story is. If you're missing things, then you're going to have massive gaps in your storytelling.
So we hit a bit of we did another amateur move because this fell out of the bag.
You can have your embeds, you can have your covert team, and you can have your robbers self-shooting, but what's missing with all of that is that no one has ownership over the story you're telling. So we looked at some streaming technology to try and see if we can get feeds off all those cameras, send them back to one central position and watch it unfold in front of us. And so we've used a system called LiveU with the help of BT.
Michael to Covert AP. John looks like he's going to head into town, so can we stand by with a bag cam, please? Stand by with a covert bag cam.
Each of our thieves teams have a LiveU unit. They have 4 streams that come from each group, and there's 5 groups altogether. They all go to an individual server, and to cut a long story short, I get all of the links from all of those servers onto this monitor here, so I can kind of monitor everything that's kind of going on as and when I need to.
And we created our own sort of mobile gallery. These pictures were never going to go anywhere. They were never going to be broadcast. We keep all the recordings locally. It was just to keep an eye on the story, to make sure that the story is there, that we're not missing chunks of picture, chunks of sync. So it meant that we could keep an eye on them using the 2-way talkback comms on LU Smart. We could use that as well. We can always talk to the people out filming them. And we transmitted all those pictures back at a fairly low resolution as well, about 1 megabit a second, and at H.265 was brilliant. Really, given that they're not going anywhere, to be able to keep an eye on stuff and see detail on banknotes, it was perfect. And we ended up being able to go into the edit, knowing the stories we've got, knowing we've got really good coverage, knowing which stories will go in which episodes and what we don't need. We shot over 3,500 hours of footage in 3 weeks. So, for anyone, that you've only got to do the sums, and that's what equals a nightmare. So to be able to go into an edit prepared, with our story producers' notes who said on day 1 this happened, day 2 blah blah blah, it made the whole show work well. So we could make this show without it, but it would never be as good, and it would take 4 years to make.
Moving on, obviously you carried on using LiveU, but the specific case recently with the terrible pandemic that's still going on, sadly. But that forced a rethink for a lot of TV production. And then you pitched to ITV, you were commissioned by ITV to create a documentary about the real world situation of people out in the streets and key workers, etc., using LiveU, LU Smart particularly. Can you talk us through that and sort of how that came about, and then how you worked it, how you created it?
So I think off the back of the program, off the back of the Heist, we kind of knew that we could film people on their phones and get good material. So using that sort of the talkback function, the low resolution gallery, would soon to be would soon to use a sort of storm forward aspect of it as well. We worked out that actually, you know, we can get people to film on their phones and guarantee that we're going to get good content because we can keep an eye on it. That's always the hardest thing. Everyone in TV these days says, yes, you can film on your phone, but you know, the reality is you get a lot of gibberish if you just give a contributor a phone. But doing this new low resolution broadcast gallery meant that we could, you know, achieve a different feel to a program and film it in a sort of a concise way that knows that we're going to get good material. So we'd already had that in the back of our heads, and almost, you know, the sort of silver lining of COVID was that that lent itself to us, because the TV world, you know, only 3 months ago was faced with, you know, massive holes in the schedules, things quickly, you know, networks desperately needing content, but you can't film it, but you need to be able to film it safely. And at those times, you know, a TV crew would never even dream of going into someone's house. So this is a bit of an odd one, because normally when you cast a documentary, you'd go and meet contributors beforehand, get the rapport going with them and try and, you know, get under their skin a little bit and find out what makes them tick. This was a documentary where none of the producers ever met any of the contributors. You know, we were filming people in all over the country, filming people in India, in South Africa in the end, all through LiveU Smart, LU Smart, and being able to have a conversation with them, getting them to film actuality with a bit of guidance and direction from us. Again, another sort of learning curve was, how can we normally we record locally on phones and get the phones and download the material off the phone onto a hard drive. How can we do that? So we actually just sent the material straight through the upload facility on LU Smart to our server, and then had a DIT working remotely, dumping it into our Nexus storage on Avid.
But my last question really here for today, in general terms, with LiveU, how much has it sort of changed the way that you think about how you can construct a program and film what was maybe previously impossible, or just, you know, very, very difficult? And how much are you hoping to sell that into broadcasters around the world as a tool in itself to facilitate productions, as I say, that were previously just too difficult or just not possible?
Well, I think the way that we are now thinking is that when new technology comes out, you try and work out, right, what is the program we can make revolving that surrounds this technology? So it's sort of almost flipped. I mean, it certainly has for me. I'm the sort of TV technology mad person at work that loves, you know, I want to know about the next bit of kit. But yeah, we embrace that idea. So, you know, I know LiveU's got some new tools and tricks coming out soon. So we'll be like, okay, well, this is an exciting bit of kit that means we can get live pictures, 4K pictures from anywhere in the world. How can we use that to our advantage, rather than going the other way round and thinking, right, what's the next program we can make, and fitting in the technology to that? So it's almost like technology's first. Not all the time, but it's definitely a bigger part of the development process these days.
Thanks, Tom, for that. We appreciate it. As I say, interesting uses, and doubtless you and I will talk again in the future when future uses come up. It would be remiss of me at this point, definitely slipping on my PR hat, Tom mentioned their new technology from LiveU. LiveU recently launched the LU800, which is a game changer in the field of cellular bonding. It's a multi-camera unit, which takes things to the next level. So have a look out for that. As I say, thanks again, Tom, and we'll catch up with you again soon. Cheers.
Thank you.